Yo, based off everything we got in this chapter, hey, yo, we might actually get to see an older version of Miguel from Africa. In case you don't remember, he's the guy, the black guy in JJK who took that beating from your boy Gojo. It was a brutal one too. But yo, let's get into the
world shall know pain.
What's up, y'all? We back at it, and we got another chapter of JJK, chapter 11 to be exact, and it looks like stuff is about to blow up. It looks like we're about to see an all-out war just based off of what we get in this chapter. Now, there's a couple things I need to point out to you guys. Keep in mind, like, that horse-like creature from Maru's planet, that's like a cursed spirit, or at least that's what I'm assuming it to be. And we know that his people see those, those cursed spirits as deities, so to speak, like gods or whatever the case. They worship them. So imagine how they would react if something was to happen to one of them in front of Maru and his people. Imagine how they would react. Now we about to get into these, fan translations, but I got to remind you guys, make sure you take the time out to read the official chapter when it drops. Again, this series is supposed to be a mini series, so I don't know how much longer we're going to get, but I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end. I believe it's a total of 3 volumes worth, but I don't want it to end. But make sure you show your love and support by reading the official, and also take the time out on Black Friday to actually go buy you a few volumes of JJK to show your support to the series. I don't know when these are actually going to be available, but as far as like the original JJK series, show your support, show some love. But we have it where the chapter starts off where you have the higher ups, Yuka and Sarugi's teacher, talking about what they plan on doing and how everything is going on. Far as they learned that Maru and Cross Ship actually is ran by cursed energy. So they're able to use cursed energy as an energy source to actually make their machines work. And you have it where they're afraid if that gets out to the public, they would try to utilize that. They would try to make it where anyone who has cursed energy will be potentially used as an energy source. You know damn well that shit would really go down in the real world. That's exactly what that would be. You would have it where people would be black market selling one another just to get cursed energy. That's exactly how it would go down. And you have it where they're saying we can't allow this information to get out to the public, because if it happens, that will likely be the outcome. So we got to stay on, stay on the aliens' good side. We got to try to do whatever we can to keep them from exposing that secret to the rest of the world. And you have it where it's like, we're going to get them to sign an NDA. Now, that would be smart if you were dealing with other humans. But the fact that you're dealing with aliens, they don't really know all the laws that we actually have. And even if they do know them, does it really apply to them? Because I feel like a talented lawyer would say this document doesn't say, aliens too. It just says humans. So they wouldn't be bound by the laws of man. That's just how I look at it. But I could be wrong. I'm no lawyer, but that's just my take on the matter. You guys can let me know how y'all feel about it. But of course, you have it where they come out with the idea like, yo, why don't we have one of the aliens marry a human? And that right there would kind of, solidify our trust in one another. Of course, the person who said that was joking, but that's not a bad idea. I'm going to be honest, that's not a bad idea. But you have it where that's played off as just a joke. And then you have it where it jumps to, them preparing for the festival for the rest of the aliens. You got, of course, Yuka, you got Tsurugi, Crossed, as well as Maru. They're all preparing food for this event. And as that is going on, you have it where they're sent to this area to get, a special treat for this dinner, an octopus. Now, I don't know if this is a real thing, but apparently it's this octopus with 1 tentacle. It's born with 8 tentacles like the rest of, like other octopus. But, the 7 of them begin to deteriorate over time, and all of the flavor goes to that 1 tentacle that's left. Now, I don't know if there's a such thing as an octopus like that. I was going to research it before making the video, but then I was like, man, I ain't doing all that shit, for an octopus, So I don't think it's true, But you never know, it could be true. If someone knows right off the bat, let me know in the comment section. Ain't no need for you to go search for it. It's no biggie, But you got it where, of course, Maru as well as Sarugi, they go out to look for this octopus. They actually find the area where it hides, but it's surrounded by jellyfish. Now, me personally, I hate being stung by jellyfish. So that would have been the end of it. I would have got them a piece and call it a day. But of course, they want this meeting to go well. So they both dive in. You have it where Sarugi goes in first. He gets stung up. Then you got it where Maru's looking like, yo, I ain't no punk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't scared of no jellyfish. I don't need no armor or nothing like that. I'm going to go in just like you went in. And they both get stung up. And, you got it standing there where they're both, bruised up pretty badly. But then we get to a moment where we see Yuka eating the medicine or taking the medicine for her disease. Now, we actually find out one of the questions that I really wanted to know when it comes to this series. It seems as if your boy Sarugi is unaware of the disease that his sister have. And you have it where Cross even says to her, like, are you going to tell your brother about your sickness? She says, I don't want to. And then, Cross asks, why is that? She says, I just want my last days to feel normal. No special treatment. And I get where she's coming from. If she was to tell her brother that she doesn't have much long to live, he would treat her more delicately. He would try to, make her last few days happy, but at the same time, it would be as if, he was pitying her. That's how she would perceive it as, not necessarily how he would be what he'd be actually be trying to do, but that's just how she would take it. And she doesn't want to be pitied. She just want to be treated normal. She doesn't want, him to try to cater to her in her last days. She just wanted to live. She just wanted to feel like a normal average day. So I get why she wants to, keep it a secret. But at the same time, I feel like she should tell her brother. And maybe he already knows, but he's choosing to act like he doesn't know for her benefit. Who knows? That might be the case. But anyway, you have it where, Cross says, I see. And I'm assuming Cross completely understands where she's coming from. But I wonder if Cross maybe might try to intervene or maybe even have a way to save her that we're unaware of. But anyway, it jumps back to the beach where you see Maru and Sarugi both bruised up from the octopus. They're trying to measure out who has the bigger octopus. They're trying to measure it out. But at the same time, you have it where they're having a discussion. We find out that women from, Cross and Maru's planet, they can't use curse energy the way that men can. So it's the men's duty to protect the women, which is crazy to find out something like that. Sarugi is thinking about the same thing where he's like, well, I get where you're coming from because of that. We often try to protect people, keep them from going in harm's way, not because we don't think they're capable of doing it, but just because we don't want them to be harmed. And you have him having a flashback and thinking about his sister, and I'm guessing a situation that they encountered in the past. And so, I kind of makes sense why she wouldn't want to tell her brother about her situation, just given this little flashback panel that we get from Sarugi as well as, or from Sarugi as he's talking to Maru. But anyway, you got it where they get the food, they return back, and all the women from Maru's ship, this is their first time being off the ship. And you have it where they're all feasting on this food. You got the chef who's a little upset because she didn't know she would have to prepare this special dish, this one tentacle octopus. But as everyone's eating the food, you have it where they're saying Deborah's sister is cursed, which we already knew. If he betrays the people he's working for, or if he die, his sister would be killed by the curse. She would be affected by that curse. And they're asking the humans if there's any way that they can actually stop this. And you have it where the humans say, well, there's a curse a curse tool called the black rope in Africa. And it's said to have the ability to erase curses that's placed on people. So maybe we could get that and use that on your sister. You have it where Deborah's relieved over it, and they're saying, we're not giving you any guarantees, we're just letting you know. So that means there's a chance we could actually see an older version of, of Miguel, or even, a descendant of Miguel in the next few chapters of JJK. But the fact that Miguel's coming back, I think is pretty dope, man. But we also have it where Deborah says he's going to get up and he's going to, go for a walk for whatever reason. And as he's walking, you have it where he bumps and to Yuka, as well as the chef that's preparing the meal. Now, from the chef point of view, it looks like she's in love. She's smitten by Dabur. She thinks he looks beautiful. You know, you see flowers and stuff in the background, but then they also show the same stuff from Dabur's point of view. So I wonder if he thinks she's beautiful as well. I'm obviously, you could tell she thinks he's beautiful just based off the next panels we get, but I'm curious how he felt about her. But you have it where she instantly looks at Yuka and says like, yo, there's something wrong with me. I'm not wearing any makeup, and it's pretty obvious since you're standing here next to me. Next thing you know, you have it where their sensei says, we have a shot. And I imagine he's speaking about the marriage thing, because either your boy Dabur makes an accident and does something clumsy, or his horn just happens to hit the top of the ceiling as he's walking through the room. I'm not exactly sure what happened. But anyway, as that goes on, it jumps back to the ship up Cross and Maru's, and you see the guy. I can't think of his name. I gotta memorize these names. But the guy who fought Cross as a child, you see that they're actually looking at this guy, this old man named Boro, that's also a part of their ship. And you see that Boro is crying. He has a tear coming from his eyes, and you know that means he's about to die, because they only shed tears twice, during birth and then during their death. And they say, what's going on? And the Baru guy says like, yo, I seen the humans murder, you know what I'm saying, that horse-like creature, which is like a cursed spirit. And then you see cursed spirits flying in the air, and that's the way the chapter ends. Now, I imagine that this might be what happens, what takes place, and what causes the war to actually take place in the series. I'm very curious how this is going to happen. Now, I've seen some people out there saying they think Mahito might be behind it. Mahito might be the one out there taking out those Cayennes, or whatever they call them. I'm not really sure on how to pronounce the name, but they're saying they think Mahito might be out there and he might be trying to start a war. Now, I think that's possible, but I don't even know if Mahito himself is aware of these aliens. So we'll just have to wait and see. But all in all, good chapter, enjoyed it, and I'm curious to see where Gege takes the series from here. But let me know y'all thoughts down below, and if you like the video, thumb it up, please subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace.